Hello, folks, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Bibs Corner podcast. This is episode 38, and you may have noticed that I skipped the weekly movie update on Sunday or Monday, I guess. So this was coming a couple days late, and I consider not doing one this week. You may or may not have known that I was out of town this weekend. You definitely didn't know why I was out of town. But there was a death in the family, and it was actually one that was, they're all tough, but this one hit a lot closer to home than some of the prior ones that I've had, and it's been a pretty rough run over these past few years, actually. But this individual was someone who kind of shaped my preferences as far as like my taste in movies and TV as a kid. So I actually couldn't watch anything for the past couple of weeks, really. You might have seen I did the review for Cuties. That was me forcing myself to watch something to get myself back going. But try to move forward as best as I can, try to keep things rolling as best I can. So I am going to go ahead and do this weekly movie update. Besides Cuties, there were no other movies for me to talk about, and since I'm not doing the review in these episodes anymore, it's going to be mostly like little news stuff. If something big comes up, then I'll spend a good bit of time talking about it, but I'm going to go over the box office, which is quiet right now thanks to COVID, but still some interesting stuff out there. And then I'll hit on a couple stories that came out this week as far as kind of movie news that kind of is important to me or things I think you should know. And then we'll get into some streaming stuff, and then we'll talk about movies that are coming out this week. But I'm going to send it to a quick break, and then I'll come back. We'll do box office and stories from this past week. All right, folks, welcome back to the Bibs Corner podcast. I'm your host, as always, Mike Bivens. That's at Bibs Film for the movie stuff, at Bibs Corner for the sports, and at MBibs for everything else. And we're going to get into some of the news, box office stuff, and like streaming big deals from this past week. First off, box office, I'll go over the top 5 movies. Tenet, still number 1 for the third straight week. That first week, they did 20 mil. Last week, they did 6.7 mil, and this week, 4.7. They did increase the number of screens they're on, and they're still waiting for theaters to open in some of the bigger places. So it's going to be interesting to see if the numbers start to go up. As I haven't heard any stories about outbreaks tied to movie theaters. So I think as time goes along and theaters aren't becoming one of the places where there's huge outbreaks, people are going to start going more. And then again, other states may start loosening their restrictions. So we'll see how that goes. New Mutants remains at number 2, 1.8 mil this week. And again, these numbers are very, very low compared to normal movie box office numbers. Only 4 movies ended up making over $1 million this weekend, which is just devastating for the movie industry, or for the theater industry, I should say. The third movie at the box office this week was the first new movie this week, and that was Infidel. It made 1.3 mil. It's an action thriller, and the description is: a desperate woman tries to save her husband after he's kidnapped and put on trial for espionage in Iran. It has a 60% fresh rating from critics, which is the cutoff for it being a good movie, and then an 89% approval rating from regular viewers. So Seems like it's probably at least a enjoyable watch, a good watch. So if you're thinking about wandering into theaters, if you have already, if you've seen Tenet and New Mutants, sounds like Infidel, if you're into action thrillers, isn't a bad option. Number 4 at the theaters this week was Unhinged, which was one of the first movies in theaters. Another thriller type movie. And then number 5 is a movie I'm still considering seeing. I've been told by someone who went and saw it that it's a little bit of a different type of rom-com. Like, it has a lot of stereotypical things that you expect to see in those types of movies, but then it adds like some other things as well. Broken Hearts Gallery. So again, I may end up seeing that one eventually. We'll see how that goes. I do have to start paying for my Regal Unlimited next month, so I'm again, I'm giving it some time. I'm trying to be patient, but if I don't see anything about breakouts or outbreaks, I should say, being tied to movie theaters, then I will definitely go back out there. It is what it is. Moving on, from the box office, there were a few major stories this week. The first 2 things I want to hit on are the 2 big streaming movies that came out this past week. The first being Antebellum. That's the Janelle Monáe movie. Was supposed to be in theaters, ended up going to straight on demand. I think it could be rented for about $20 right now. Critics came out first saying they hated it pretty much, and that has been steady. The Rotten Tomatoes critic rating right now is at 27%. But the fan rating is at 61%, which again, 60% is the Rotten Tomatoes cutoff for a good movie. So if it's got a 60% or higher rating, then most people think it's a good movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes. So with that type of difference in the opinions, I had to go look at what people are saying. So I'm just going to read through like some of the previews for some of the reviews from regular people. So first person, this movie was amazing. Second person, and that was a 5-star. So second person, also 5 stars. I waited all year for this film, and it really delivered. I love the modern take on a classic American nightmare. I can't wait to see more from these directors. Next person, another 5-star, and he's again 3 straight 5 stars. A must-see. Janelle Monáe is fabulous, Oscar-worthy, all caps. Next person gave it a 0.5 star. So this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I thought it had potential, but it developed into a chaotic mess, not worth a $20 rental from Xfinity. The trailer/preview is vastly different from the film. Okay. Next person, another 0.5 star rating. Antebellum was a poorly executed movie. The entire plot relied too heavily on convenience. The big twist is so heavily foreshadowed and predictable that it felt like this movie wasn't really building to anything. And it pretty much continues like this. The next 3 are short little 5-star ratings. I'll read through them. In the day and time we live in, this could possibly be a real life situation. Next one, powerful. I can't count the number of times I got goosebumps. It was even better the second time. So this person watched it twice, 5-star rating. Next person, best movie I've seen in years, if not my lifetime, and I'm 58 years young. And then just to balance it out, I'm going to go with 2 more reviews. One's a 1-star and one's a 2-star. So first the 1-star. From the first 5 minutes to the last 5 minutes, this is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Again, this is coming after the one that said best movie they've seen in their life, potentially. Not only is the imagery uncomfortably laid out, but once you get to the end, not so many, if any, of the dots connect. This movie is pieced together as if the director was trying, and I'm not going to read the expanded version. Last person, 2-star rating. I almost fell asleep. I get the premise of the movie. It was kind of like Get Out. Not a real horror, but a if this was life horror. Interesting. So then after seeing all that, I'm seeing people at various ends of the spectrum. I kind of wanted to see what the consensus was from the critics. And the consensus overall from the critics, again, they settled at a 27% right now. Antebellum fails to connect its images with any meaning, making for a largely unpleasant experience, lacking any substantial scares. The one negative review that's at the top among the critics says, "It's not a horror film or a satire or even that much of a thriller. It is bits and pieces of all three that never complete each other." And that seems to be the consensus that I'm hearing from all, is that it gives you a lot of images, and apparently a lot of powerful bad images. I follow a lot of black women critics, and a lot of them are like the first few that I saw that were doing reviews were saying things like they're tired of seeing black women just be abused on film. And then that there was no real like meaning to it. It was just somebody wanted to abuse, I guess, Janelle Monáe in this scenario. I see someone who actually gave it a fresh rating, even though the critics overall gave it a negative. This person gave it a fresh rating, but the actual words say brutal slavery horror pick, has cool twists but lacks depth. And I think that when you saw the trailer the first time, you expected the depth. And I think Jordan Peele and his production team, they have to stop saying from the producer of Get Out on all their movies. I feel like it's doing more damage than good at this point, because Get Out was so great. Every time you attach Get Out to a movie, people are expecting that level of detail. Jordan Peele wasted 0 moments in that movie. Every single thing had multiple meanings. And so when you see from the producer of Get Out, even though Jordan Peele didn't direct, write anything on this movie, you're expecting that level of depth in the movie. And when you don't get it, that creates a negative experience. And that's what I believe happened to the critics here. I think that my boy Raymond said that Antebellum was like somebody watched Get Out but didn't understand any of the meaning behind it. I believe something along those lines is what he said. And again, I think that Monkey Paw Studios needs to stop marketing their films as from the producers of Get Out. I think they're doing themselves a disservice. They're setting a ridiculously high expectation that it's almost impossible to meet. That's just my 2 cents on that. I'm debating whether I'm going to watch it right now with the ratings being where they are. I definitely don't want to spend $20 on it. But we'll see. The movie that I do plan to watch, because everybody's saying good things about it, is the Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Sebastian Stan Netflix movie, The Devil All the Time. That movie actually has a 65% rating from critics and an 83% rating from fans, or from the average viewer. And in that movie, I didn't know anything about it coming into last week. I just saw Tom Holland's name and then Robert Pattinson. And then when I checked the cast, it's really just a loaded cast overall. Like, besides those top 3, you got Bill Skarsgård, Riley Koff, Haley Bennett. Like, it's got some people in it. Some very familiar faces. It's a long movie. It's a period piece, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, it says a young man is devoted to protecting his loved ones in a town full of corruption and sinister characters. That movie is described as a drama and mystery and thriller and crime movie. Again, it's Netflix. I actually have a subscription, so I can watch that very easily. I'll probably do that sometime this week, based on the positive reviews that I've seen of it. Other big news for this week that was of note to me: Invisible Man, which is still my number 1 movie of 2020 so far, is available on HBO Max now. So if you have not seen it, definitely head over to HBO Max and check it out. I've seen it 3 times already. Not even since it hit HBO Max. I actually paid for it. Saw it in theaters and then paid for it at home and watched it twice when I rented it. But if you have not seen Invisible Man, definitely go check that out. That's, again, my favorite movie of 2020 so far. It could be unseated. We'll see. The last big news that I wanted to hit on for this week is my boy, Jonathan Majors, my best supporting actor from the Bibbs Corner Film Awards 2020, or 20, I guess it was 2020, but for the 2019 slate of movies, Jonathan Majors was cast as Kang in the upcoming Ant-Man movie. And it's been dope to see him blossom, if you will, since The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Just an amazing performance by him in that. Now he's got Lovecraft Country, which is apparently going very well. I need to check that out myself. It's on my list. I got a very long list. So definitely planning to watch Lovecraft Country just because he's in it. And I'm hearing good things about that as well. And then now hearing that he's going to be cast as Kang, who they can play with that role. Time traveler from the future. I feel like he's going to kill that role. Like, I could see him being amazing in that role. I'm very excited about it, to see what they do with it. And Ant-Man, if we're in a post-Captain America world here, Ant-Man might be my favorite Avenger right now, low key. So I'm excited about that, and looking forward to seeing what he does with that role. And I saw some people complaining, saying stop giving black people alien roles, but clearly you don't know what you're talking about if you're saying that. If you're saying stop giving them villains are usually the meatiest roles in these types of movies. And you don't have to, when you sign up for a villain role, you don't have to commit to 10 movies to do it. So you can come in, make a big splash as a villain, and then bounce, cash that Disney money, and keep it moving. So I'm excited about it once again. And again, I think that's something that they could play with. I'm going to take another break. And if you noticed lately, I've been trying to do 2 ads. There's like a initiative to push for voting rights and making sure people are registered, things like that. So I definitely want to try to do my part to contribute. I'm posting 2 ads. I don't have any control over which order they play. I believe it plays the anchor ad first, and then the second one is the ballot ad, or I can't even remember the name of the site. You'll hear it in a second, though. I'll be back after the break. All right, folks, welcome back. And I'm going to try to wrap this section up pretty quick. Basically just touching on the upcoming movies for this week. I have a few. I'm actually going to check something real quick. Okay. So basically, 3 big movies coming out this week. First one is Greenland, which I was super confused about what this movie was about initially, but then I saw a trailer for it and realized that this is another one of those disaster Armageddon type movies. It's Gerard Butler, Morena Baccarin, King Bach is in it. Basically, a comet is headed to Earth, and initially they don't think anything bad is going to happen, but then bad things begin to happen, and it's all about survival and surviving the end of the world, and a whole lot of stuff is going to get destroyed. I'm sure we'll watch New York be destroyed again, and Gerard Butler is going to protect his family somehow, magically save the day, and end up in wherever the safe place is that they're trying to go. That's coming out this weekend. And I actually don't think there's been any reviews. Let me check real quick one more time while I'm here. I literally just checked a minute ago, but let's do it again. You never know when these things are going to update. Yep, no reviews yet. Probably didn't want people to see it and put out negative reviews. I wouldn't blame them. There have been a couple reviews done. They seem positive so far of the couple that are in there. It's just not enough for them to put out a consensus, basically. With the way 2020 is going, I'm not trying to watch a movie like this. Because if I walked outside and I saw a comet coming down to the earth, it would not surprise me at this point. So let's keep it moving. The next movie is called Kajillionaire. It's Evan Rachel Wood, Gina Rodriguez, my girl Divine Joy Randolph, Richard Jenkins, in a heist comedy, which the last time I checked has a 92% positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and currently up to 93%. So it looks funny just from what I've seen. The cast is pretty legit. So I'm definitely interested in potentially seeing this one. I haven't even checked my local theater yet, but definitely looks like a movie I'd be willing to see in the theaters. It'd be nice to get out and laugh. And then the third movie that's heading to theaters and looks interesting is called Misbehavior. And this is another one with a pretty strong cast. Keira Knightley, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Jessie Buckley, who was in I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And then Greg Kinnear is also in this one. It's a drama / comedy as well. A group of women plan to disrupt the 1970 Miss World Beauty competition. And that one currently sits at an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's, again, another drama / comedy. Very strong cast. And it's a period piece. It looks like it should be interesting. The review so far should be they look to be mostly positive. Apparently it's based on a true story as well. So again, if you're thinking about venturing out, things haven't fallen apart yet. From what I can see with concern with theaters. Wow, I can't talk. Theaters have not imploded yet, with a huge outbreak. So if you're thinking about venturing out, there looks to be some quality movies out there to look at. As far as the streaming side goes, I tried to, at the beginning of the month, try to identify any movies that might be interesting that are coming out in the coming week. But I do that, again, at the beginning of the month, so things could have changed. I may have missed something, but I did not list any movies that are of note, that are new, I should say. However, I did note that Just Mercy, which is, I believe, in my top 3 still for 2020, and I know for award purposes, like on the major awards, it was counted with last year's movies, like, what's it called? Oh my gosh, 1917 was as well, but I'm counting them for me as a 2020 movie because they had a limited release in 2019, but didn't go wide until 2020, and so I'm basing it on the wide release. And for my purposes, those are 2020 movies. But with that said, again, Just Mercy does come to Just Mercy does come to HBO Plus or HBO Max this week. So be on the lookout for that. I'm actually checking my local theater right now, and I'm definitely not going to go on Thursday. They don't update the actual theater listings until Thursday of the week. But I'm looking at what's in theater right now just to kind of get an idea. Infidel is there. That's the movie that was third at the box office this week. Broken Hearts Gallery is there. Tenet's still there. New Mutant's still there. Unhinged still there. They're playing Black Panther. Minions, and like an 88 movie called Akira, Star Wars Episode 5, and The Breakfast Club. So like they're trying to fill their theater slots with random like older movies. It's been interesting to watch how they make their rosters and their lineups during this time. But yeah, I won't commit to going this week. We'll see what happens. I have a couple movies I can or need to watch at home, so that's always going to be the preference for the time being. But that's really it. Wanted to keep this as tight as possible. I think I'm around 25 minutes. So we'll be back next week, hopefully back on our regular schedule going forward. Thank you guys for bearing with me during this time. Peace.